Hello. In this video I wanted to explain the Arabic Diacritics. They're extremely crucial to the Arabic language and it can't function without them. We use them all the time, even when sometimes we don't write them down. It's only because we are familiar with the words, and also depends on the context. We can understand without them, but we still use them, we still pronounce them. The diacritics are marks which are placed around the letters and they define the way they are pronounced, which determines the meaning of the word. And with changing those marks, we change the whole meaning of the word. I'm not going to explain all of the marks, there are too many and we don't use them all. I'm only going to explain the most common ones that we use all the time. 6 marks to be specific. So yeah, let's get to it, and I hope you enjoy the video. The first mark is this one. It has 2 uses depending on its position in the word. When it's placed above the letter, it's called Fathah, and it represents a sound similar to the vowel A in English. So whichever letter it is sounds like na, ta, fa, ba, and so on. I should probably also mention that the Arabic language is read from the right to the left. Its name, Al-Fatha, means the opening. Basically comes from the fact that we open our mouths when we pronounce it. I'm going to use this word as an example a lot for how the meaning of the word could change depending on the diacritical marks placed around it. In this case, placing al-fatha above the first and the middle letters, the pronunciation of the word becomes alam, which means a flag. But its meaning is going to change as I change the diacritical marks around it. Nothing too special here. I'm just gonna keep moving like this until they pass. Let's get this over with. Broken. That's what we call a letter when this same mark is placed underneath it. The mark's name becomes Al-Kasra, which means the break, as in broken, and it represents the sound of the vowel E, as in the word T. So the letter becomes B, T, and so on. In this same word I used before, alam, if we change the marks to look like this, it becomes ilm, which means knowledge or science depending on context, but in this case, knowledge. Al-Damma, this mark, represents the vowels O and U in English, depending on the word and context. The letter usually sounds like no, to. It's always placed above the letters. In this word, if we switch the marks to look like this, it becomes ullim, which means has been taught. Its name, al-damma, means the hug or the joining. It comes from how we join our lips together a little bit when we pronounce it. And those 3 in Arabic are called al-harakat, or in my accent, il-harakat, which means the movements or the moves, depending on translation, but they both come anyway from the word haraka, which means move. Move. And, well, they're vowels. They're basically vowels. They're vowels, but those three are responsible for very short and fast vowels. So that's basically it. Like these vowel movements, the vowel marks, these three or these three, I don't know where I'm gonna put them on the screen because I'm standing right in the middle of it. These three are called the movement. I don't know what to call it. Just calling the vowels for now. God, that vowel movement is just stuck in my head now. They are responsible for very short and fast and like narrow vowel movements. Vowel sounds, or just vowels. And Fathah is like an A, Kasra is like E and T, and yeah, Damma is like an O, or sometimes U, depending on the word and context and stuff, but yeah. And yeah, for the longer vowels, for the longer vowel sounds, we have full letters, not just marks, to represent those. And these are very, like, pretty similar to English. Like the letter Alif, for example, is pretty much exactly like the letter A in English. When it's at the beginning of a word, it's pronounced as A, like the name Ahmed, for example. But if when it's placed in the middle of a word or a name, it's used as a vowel, and it loses this mark above it, which is called Hamza. I'm going to talk about it in a future video, and I'm going to talk about the rest of the Arabic letters which represent vowels like waw, ya, and those are the ones on top of my head right now. But yeah, I'm going to make a separate videos about them. Sukoon means stillness. This is the name of this mark. It represents a stop. Whenever we encounter it, we stop, we don't add any vowels to the letter, and we move on immediately to the next one. In this example I have mentioned previously, the word ilm, we stop at the letter in the middle because there's a sukoon above it. Oh yeah, and it's always placed above the letters. This mark is called al-Shaddah. It's usually placed above the letters, and it represents doubling the sound of that letter. And it's always used with another vowel. It's never used with al-Sukoon. We never stop at that letter, we move it, because we double it and we move it. We double it and we give it to the next person. In this example I gave previously, the word ulim, the way the letter in the middle is pronounced is doubled. Without it, the word will be pronounced ulim, which means has been known instead of has been taught. Could also mean basically Roger that. Its name, al-Shaddah, means the pull, because in Arabic we call doubling the letter pulling the letter. Al-Maddah. It represents stretching the sound of the letter. In this word, which is the name Adam, the very first letter, A, that stretch atom, the Maddah is responsible for that. And its name, al-Maddah, means the stretch. And it's usually placed above the letters. The last one. I wasn't going to mention this one because I thought we don't use it that much. But then I realized, yes, we do. كتير جدا. But it's also because it's really hard to explain and I have no idea how I'm going to, where to even, how to, oh, okay, I can do this. I can do this. Step by step here, the phrase, the Arabic phrase, let's start with that. The Arabic phrase I just said, كتير جدا, it means very much or a lot or very often, depending on context. Here in this context, let's say that it means very much. Kitir as in much, and the word that matters here, jiddan. What's interesting about this one is that it only consists of 3 letters, matching them with the English language. The first one, gim, equals the English G, literally. The second one, dal, equals the English D, and the last one, alif, equals the English A. And in this case, it's being used sort of as a vowel because it's at the end of the word, and it's a longer vowel than just us using the diacritical mark al-Fathah. So, where the hell did the N sound come from? It's pronounced jiddan. That's what this mark is doing. That's what it resembles. It's one of 3 marks in a very little group called the Noonation Marks, if you will. In Arabic, it's called alamat al-tanween. Al-tanween here is the core mechanic these marks are using. They apply a noon sound at the end of the word. Noon here is this letter, equals literally the English N. So it applies the N sound at the end of the word. When you find it using this mark, which is al-Fathah twice, that means that this is an open nonation. Open comes from al-Fathah because al-Fathah means the opening, so it's named after it. So we use the vowel for al-Fathah, which is A, which is a very short A, and then we place an N sound after that, which is why it's pronounced jiddan. Goes up, as we call it in Arabic, follows al-Fathah and then adds an N. This one, the second one in this group, goes down. It uses the mark al-Kasra, so it's using the vowel E as in T, like I explained before, and then places an N sound at the end of it. And this one is the third, uses al-Damma, follows the vowel of O and then places an N afterwards. So this is how we read it. Whenever we see it, we follow through with whichever vowel of the 3 that it's using, and then we add the N sound at the very end of the pronunciation of that word. Well, that was very hard to explain, but I hope that I explained it in a way that's actually understandable. Well, I hope the video was as informative as I hope for it to be. As informative as I hope for it to be. Is this an infinite sentence? I hope you enjoyed the video.
thank you for watching. Yeah, that's it. I'm terrible at at closing a video, the videos.